football, not American football. Football. The actual game you use your foot on a ball. That game. Everyone clear? Okay. I hate that game. I really do. I don't like football. Why is this such a popular game? And I'm not starting this episode with pure spite. I'm not going to be like, I'm not that short-sighted. This is the thing. I have a lot of respect for it. I have blah 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 blah. I'm using all the fancy words everyone else uses. I understand all that about the game, but I don't like it for 3 reasons. And I'm going to itemize these 3 reasons right now. I don't like how hard it is. Like I'm not whining in this particular instance. I'm not saying this to whine, but I genuinely don't like how hard it is. Like I don't like how hard it is to compete in the game of football with people. And let me explain what I mean, right? Let me explain what I mean. First of all, I come from a Nigerian background where football is just a thing people do here. Like we were colonized by the British, so of course we picked up their most important sports. So football is very common in Nigeria, and a lot of people play it, and it's just something you see all the time. You see people playing like things that are similar to football everywhere, like literally kicking cans of bottles on the ground, and that's football. And anytime you kick something and you have a purpose while you're kicking it, you're playing football. Like that's just kind of part of the whole thing. So it's fun. It's a nice vibe. I understand why everyone likes it. I understand why it's big. I understand why it's popular. But at the same time, professionally, I don't like it. And I have many reasons why, and I'm going to get into all of them. This is a full podcast, by the way. Welcome back. This is HowToKDJ, by the way. I didn't say that at first. I kind of have to keep reminding people because, I don't know, people have this weird thing where they forget you exist. Object permanence is not really a thing online. So people just straight up forget you exist when you don't keep reminding them. Existentialism aside, this is the thing. I don't like the fact that, first of all, what's football, right? For those of you who are literally living under a rock, I mean, there's no other way to put this, but like, football is basically a game where people kick a ball into a goal. Like one set of people from one side kick the ball into the other side's goal. That's it. That's football. That's the most broken down version of it. Yes, professionally, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. There's all the aspects of like how the team works. It's 11 players, and generally the whole consensus of football is you're supposed to play the ball without leaving certain boundaries and without using your hands to touch the ball at all. You can use any part of your body except your hands and arms. So any part of your arms not allowed, any part of your hands not allowed to touch the ball intentionally. That's the best way to put it, because technically there are times when the ball will hit your hands sometimes, but it's unintentional, so it's not against the laws. It's not a foul, because that's the thing. So like, yes, that's the whole game of football. It seems simple enough. The problem I have with it is very, very specific to a body type. And not just body type in the sense that, so people who are overweight or people who are out of shape can't play it. And I'm not using this to classify myself. I'm not out of shape or overweight. I mean, I am technically out of shape, but I'm not overweight by any means. I still have enough gas to go, and I still have enough strength, and I can play the game. And I do play the game with my friends and stuff, like once in a while. But I just don't like how overly competitive the game is. I don't like it. I feel it's not even one of those general aspects where it's just toxicity. No, I don't like the fact that the game draws people in so much that it feels like a religion. It's the same issue I have with religions in general. Like it's too strict, and it's too brutal. That's the best way to put it. And by brutal, I mean like a lot of people find like basically a life in football that I've never come to understand. And I don't know the best way to put this that doesn't sound too mean, but also straight up gets my point. It feels too chaotic in a way. When like, and this is one of those things where you kind of have to be there to understand what I'm saying, because a lot of what I'm saying is based on experience, and my experience in particular of playing football, and not even just my experience, the experience I can see. Like the experience I'm experiencing from other people's experiences. I know this sounds very complicated, but like if you understand what I'm saying, it's like the game itself, straightforward, simple, but it's taken in such a freaking harsh way, in such a an overly serious way that it just pisses me off. And there are a lot of things like I personally fundamentally don't like about football. Like a lot of little things that I just find weird. First of all, for those of you who don't know first, I have to keep breaking things down just in case, because there are a lot of people around the world and some people don't know anything about a specific thing that you might know a lot about. So you should also acknowledge that, that just be self-aware. And that's what I'm doing right now by explaining. In football, you have tackling, right? Tackling is a big thing in football. Tackling is like how basically your best way of getting the ball without having to intercept. And by intercepting, it means someone passes the ball or shoots the ball or kicks the ball with the goal of it reaching a certain place. And before it gets there, you stop the ball from getting there. That's interception. So someone's passing to the other person and you run in between and stop the ball or block the ball, and you take it and continue your own goal. That's interception. There's also tackling. Tackling is like you're taking the ball from someone else's possession directly. So it's not like you're waiting for an interception when they pass. No, you're trying to take the ball immediately from their possession without touching the ball or anything with your hands without snatching the ball, basically. My problem with this whole fundamental thing is this is a very basic aspect of a lot of sports. Like a lot of sports have tackling involved. But you would notice one specific major difference in football is the fact that it's such a flimsy, loose understanding when it comes to tackling. It's such a loose explanation because it's like, yes, tackling does involve body to body work. Like it's a little bit of contact sport, but at the same time, you're not supposed to like really push the person or really like shove someone away. But at the same time, people do that all the time. And that's what pisses me off the most. Football is such a loose sport that it doesn't even feel like, it just feels like whatever you want to do, you do it. And this is me, I'm not even talking about this in like a small person's perspective where I'm like, oh, they just keep bullying me all the time, so I keep complaining. No, I do it to people. Like, I understand how to do it. I'm a big guy. I'm pretty strong. I have all the physique, the massive physique to be able to like do whatever I want to other people. I can do all these things. My problem is, yes, you can do all these things. Yes, you can pass the ball. You can do all this cool stuff. But the fact alone that it kind of just depends on whatever a referee says is fine, it just pisses me off. That's the best way to say it. Because like in the game of football, you can walk into somebody, like literally walk into a person while the person is with the ball. And as long as you specifically, and this is a thing everyone always shouts about, as long as you specifically use your shoulder to do it, then it's fine. Why the hell is that a thing? Why is that fine? What kind of freaking sport is that? And this is a real issue I have in general with a lot of different sports, and not just football. Like sports that have to do with, that have checking involved. By checking is a term, a sports term that basically means you like attack a person with your body in a way, like you check the person. They do this in basketball as well, but in basketball it's a specific kind of checking where they do the same shoulder to shoulder thing, except that it's not as brutal as you would imagine in football. In football, you can be running at someone at Mach 10 and just rush into the person with your shoulder and it's fine. Why the hell is that allowed? You know how many times, and this is a little bit of a side tangent, how many times I play this EA Sports FIFA? So like, it's no longer called FIFA anymore. I know it's a new thing, it's a new policy, whatever. They're owned by a different company now. So it's like, what's it, FC? It's just called FC24 instead of like FIFA 24. So like this FIFA game has this issue so many times, and it pisses me off because it's, sorry, my bad, pardon me. In my opinion, games, sports in general, should have this fairness to them. They should elicit a bit of fairness because it's a sport, okay? It's not battle, it's not a war, unless you want to take it as a war, which is the reason I don't like football, because people do genuinely use a war mentality to play football. And let's not even go, let's break things down little by little while I'm explaining myself. So in football in general, right, you want to check somebody. What do? You just run into the person and use your shoulder to kind of push the person away, and pretty much as long as it's your shoulder directly, it's fine. Except that sometimes it's not fine. Sometimes you do it and the person falls and rolls, and maybe the person was about to kick the ball and you didn't get the ball at all. that's a foul. But again, sometimes you do it, and the person you're doing it against is strong enough that they don't fall, and then it's fine. Like, do you realize what this whole thing is? It's like you're playing a game where it kind of just depends on random scenarios. And this is my biggest issue with games, sports, and anything in general. It's R&D. And by R&D, I mean randomness. Like, anything that has to do with randomness in games, I freaking hate that. I freaking hate that. Why do I hate it? Because it removes the whole point of it being a game and makes it more into a gamble. And if you are playing games or sports specifically to gamble, then that's a specific case. That's a different thing for you. That's you trying to gamble. Fine. Like, to each his own. It's fine. My own problem with it is you're doing that while I'm trying to have fun. I'm trying to enjoy. I'm trying to play a game. I'm trying to, like, at least derive some kind of pleasure from it. But you're doing it because you're basically gambling on the fact that something might go wrong. And yes, that is a fundamental aspect of sports in general. That's the reason sports exist in the first place, is the fact that it's like, if they are good enough technically or in some specific way, then they will beat you. But sometimes, in some occasions, it could go the other way, which is the whole thing with football. Like that, the fact that, like, this is me deviating a little bit again. Watch the game. Just watch a game of football and you will realize a very obvious, very clear thing that happens, where it's the game is so drawn out. And why is it drawn out? It's because there is such little stuff you can do in the game. Literally, it's such a little bit of stuff you can do per time. That's how to put it. Per time. Because obviously when you compress everything that anyone has ever done into football, it'll look like, okay, football is such a great, yes. But that's what happens when you compress anything into a short enough time. Problematically, the game itself on a fundamental level is so basic that it's so unbelievably boring. Like, it's so unbelievably boring. And I'm not talking about this like because I want fast action all the time. No, it's the fact that you are spending 90 plus minutes of your life watching people kick a ball, so at least you should expect some level of enjoyment. And a lot of people enjoy football purely because either A, they are just relaxing themselves, and that's fine. You can enjoy anything. You can enjoy watching paint dry if you're just doing it to relax your mind. Fine. But B, because people watch it based on nostalgia. I don't know why I stumbled through that entire sentence. I was trying to make a point sound, very, very, very virile. Let's do that again. One of the reasons a lot of people have this whole tendency to love football is because they are doing it just for relaxation, just like watching paint dry. Second of all, people do it because they just want to feel nostalgic. They just want to feel that old-timey feeling that they had a long time ago when they were like younger and when they saw the things that could happen in football. So they're kind of pulling for that nostalgia. And that pisses me off in objectively, because it's like you're watching the game because you know some cool things could happen. That's it. Because you know something could happen. Not because the game is designed to make anything fun happen. It's not designed to do... Nah, it's just because something could happen. Like, this is one of the reasons why I genuinely enjoy watching games like women's football more. Even though I would never watch that as well, because in general, I fundamentally don't like the game of football. So I'll just not watch that. But I would prefer to watch women's football. Why? Because there is no chance of that weird R&D thing happening. They play purely technically. Why do they do that? Because women generally do have this self-preservation aspect as well that men just straight up don't. Which is kind of, to be fair, that's kind of what makes us guys, what makes us men, is the fact that we kind of take risks, and we take risks like in a big way. We take mad risks, and this is just a fundamental thing about guys in general, and why like football in general is like people just try the craziest, most rough, insane looking things and retire very early. Why do you think they retire so early? Because their bodies can't take it anymore. Because it's all just happenstance. It's just you checking people to infinity. And that's the one gripe I have the most with football in general, is checking. When someone has to take the ball from you, and instead of technicalizing it. That's the best way I can put it. Instead of finding some specific technique to find a way to trick you into giving, no, they just straight up run into you. And yeah, I can do that too. I do that as well. Sometimes someone's with the ball, pardon me, and I can straight up just use my body, check them. And it's part of the game, so people do it. But it's stupid. It's straight up stupid. You're literally running into people. And what's weird is, if you do it to someone who's not strong enough, it's a foul. So it's like, you have to like mediate the amount of energy, the amount of force you put into it, and all of this just because of the fact that there is no ground basis on the rule of checking someone, of tackling. Tackling in general as well also has that weird issue where it's like someone could literally slide into you, and as long as he touches the ball, oh my god, like that pisses me off so much. It pisses me off so freaking much. As long as he touches the ball, literally his shoelaces could just flick the edge of the ball. I'm pretty sure that's probably not allowed. That's a little bit of a hyperbole. Like, what I mean is, as long as the foot of any, like basically any part of the person, aside except his hands, I guess, touches the ball first before touching you, then it's fine. You could literally break someone's legs, which people have done like countless times. As long as you touch the ball first, it's fine. Why the hell is that a real thing? Why do we have no repercussion because it's a sport? And for those of you not watching, I put air quotes. Like, why is that not a thing? Why is that not penalized? Why is that allowed? What the hell is wrong with people? What happened to our self-preservation? What happened to everything? We just felt, oh well, it's a sport now, so we've claimed that it's a sport, and therefore you can do whatever you want as long as you touch the ball first. You can literally decapitate someone as long as you touch the ball first. Like, people have broken shins. There are videos online. People have broken their shins, busted ankles, twisted everything. Just on the aspect of, oh, okay, I got the ball first. And you can do it however you want. And there are people, and trust me, we have fine motor skills. That's what makes us human beings. There are people who genuinely do that intentionally, and you can't foul them because they touch the ball first. That is so annoying. It's such an annoying fundamental thing about football that I don't like. And that's just one of them. That's just straight up one thing. Like, just that alone has just tuned me off of football. And in general, I do appreciate sports where you show your physique, you show your like strength and stuff. And yes, but what happens when you have a boxing match? Like, using boxing for example, what happens in a boxing match when you have two players and one player is way bigger, way more massive, way taller, stronger than another player, but they're both good boxers? Do you fight them against each other? No! The answer is obviously no. Well, why is it that's allowed in football? That's such a stupid thing. Look at freaking American football, for example. I've always said this thing. Americans, as annoying as they are in many ways, as much problems as they cause around the world, and as much bad decisions as they make, they know how to make sports. They know how to make sports fair. And that's because this has been a long-running dilemma in America for a long time, even down to the whole fundamental basis of their whole like lifestyle. Freaking slavery, for example. Their whole fundamental basis of life is looking for the better option. And because of that, it leads to them having making much better choices about games. Look at American football. Like, this was a long-winded way of me saying American football has it right, in the sense that not anyone can just attack anybody. Everyone has a specific position based on them, based on their physique itself. In football, you can have teams that are not in any way supposed to be matching physically against each other, but it's fine. And in football is one of those sports where you have a guy who's just extremely fast as the forward, and sometimes it can be at the back, and sometimes it can be at the middle, and it could be anywhere. Football is kind of just your technique, but also your physique, but also it's random. So, like, I don't know why this is so upsetting to me, but it just pisses me off when a sport has so much ground based on randomness. Just purely randomness. Even the game itself is based on randomness, and that's so annoying. I don't know, that's just so, it's always pissed me off because it's such an annoying thing that we just have to deal with. The fact that it's just a random game. And yes, I do understand that as well with other sports. But that's the same issue I have with a lot of other sports. But at least a lot of sports don't have that freaking check-in issue. How many sports do you have where you run at people with that much speed, that much force, no protection whatsoever, and you can just kind of basically kill people? You can just do whatever you want. You can end people, you can paralyze people, you can do whatever you want, all in the sake of touching a ball. Yes, there is rugby. Yes, there is also some types of American football, because that a lot of concussions happen. At least they're padded. That's what I'll say. At least they're padded. And yes, that also has its own fundamental issue, a side tangent, where I've heard this weird arguments where people are like, there are more concussions in American football than rugby because there are pads, because people wear so much padding, because they feel like if I have this much padding, I can do whatever I want. So they overtrust their protection. And sometimes when you overtrust, you overthrust, and you release too early. Okay, that's a very stupid joke. But this is the thing. If you overtrust what you're wearing, your protection, you will most likely overdo things. And when you overdo things, it can cause issues, because it's not an Iron Man suit you're wearing. Like as an American footballer, you're not wearing an Iron Man suit. You're just kind of wearing a decent amount of padding to protect basic regions. But at the same time, you can't just run into each other like that. You can't just do all those crazy things. At least they are paired up properly. Like, they are matched up. That's the thing I have always liked about American football. They are matched up perfectly. Like, everyone's matched to where they should be. Big guys are in a specific place. Fast guys are in a specific place. They do this, they do that. They can throw the ball, they can catch it, they can punt it, they can kick, they can do so many things. Like, it's nice that they can do all those cool things. And that's kind of what makes American football, in my opinion, so much more of a sport than football. Because football is such a random game. It's such a freaking random game. And I don't know how else to put this, and I don't know if I'm even going to reach 30 minutes in this video. This was purely a rant. And please come at me in the comments. Please tell me why you feel like what I'm saying makes no sense. I'm so glad to listen to people. I want to hear what your preference is. I want to understand why you feel like it's justified that you can check someone from running Mach 10 and break the person's ankles on the name of touching the ball, and that's fine. I want you to explain that to me, please. And explain to me why that's 50-50 sometimes. Why sometimes you can do some things, sometimes you can't do some things. Why the hell is that acceptable in a sport? Please explain to me. And this is just kind of a rant, but at the same time, I really, really want some kind of feedback, because this is always just tickled my toes, because it's I don't know, it's just such an annoying thing that it's just allowed, it's just permitted because it is, and people have just done that for so long. And this is one of those cases where I feel like just because something has always existed for so long and people have always fantasized and done cool things about it, doesn't always mean it's the right thing to do. That's the best way to put it. I don't know, I just turned off the lights behind me, but how do I turn this back on? that was a slight bit of an error. Yeah, okay. So that was all for this video. There's nothing else I have to say. I literally just picked football and I was like, I hate this game. Why didn't I talk about it? And then I did that. So, keep living your dreams. Enjoy yourselves. I'll see you guys in the next video. And stay gorgeous, you beautiful people. Get out of here.